What is going on the internet world? Thank you for tuning into the Culture Blueprint Building Strong Teams and Home Services. I am your host, Thaddeus Tondu. Of course, those that are on my Facebook, well, you already know me because you follow me. So those that have subscribed to the webinar, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us here today to go through. One of the things that I'm really passionate about in business and just in life is having a great company culture for a lot of a variety of different reasons, because when you have a great culture, well, guess what? You can do great things with inside of your business and you can take care of your customers even better. So that's a key thing. So we're going to dive into this here today. And again, it is the culture blueprint building strong teams in home services. But it's not just for home services, by the way. I think any business can really model these in here. And I'll talk a little bit about why me as a marketing guy is going to be going through this. But without further ado, I know I can probably give it a couple minutes to see those late stragglers that want to make it on for this particular workshop. Now, this is a workshop. You're going to see I have two other tabs opened up at the top of my screen. One is a document, one is an Excel, a Google Sheet, so Google Doc, Google Sheet. This is more of a workshop style. Hey, I'm running this to be able to, I've got no additional thing to sell you at the end on as it relates to culture, at least on this workshop. Maybe in the future, I'll develop and build something. I literally just want to run this to be able to give you value so that way you too can build a strong company culture inside of your business and create better lasting change for your people. That's the essence of it. So let's dive in. So we're going to set the agenda here for you today. We're going to go through culture at its core, talk a little bit more about what that's involved. A workbook overview and in showing you kind of what's going to go involved with inside the workbook. We're going to talk about core values, why they matter, how they're important, how you can make sure that your team is bought into those. Talking about hiring and firing against your core values. I think a lot of people miss that one. Okay. And we're going to talk about the GWC Analyzer. That's one of the things that we're going to give you away as a template for the GWC Analyzer. We're going to talk about the vivid vision and how this relates to your organization to get people bought into what you do. Okay. Couple ground rules here for I always like to have a couple of them. There's only a few. First one is be present during this. Right? This is a workshop. You've dedicated time out of your day to watch this. So be present. Don't get distracted. I, for one, have already put my phone in do not disturb, because usually if I get a text message, I want to look down and look at it. But now I can't because I don't even know that they're coming in. It's in do not disturb. So do the same thing with your phone. Block out all of your distractions that you need. Hey, this is a workshop. Okay. I've mentioned that already. This is something that's going to be hands-on. We're going to dive through and we're going to go through building some things for you guys. And if you do the work, your culture will change. Okay. It's actually funny. No, it's not funny. It's interesting that I was at Pantheon, the Service Titan event 2 weeks ago, and we went out for supper at Ruth's Chris, a few of us, and they were talking about culture and how it can relate and what they can do. And one guy thought that he had really strong culture. One guy thought he was doing everything he needed to do from a culture, but then it turned out he didn't have a strong culture. And so, like, there's this ever evolving concept of what is culture. Right. Here's the other thing that I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I know that's not even a limb, but the companies that have no issues recruiting, hiring, and retaining top talent, guess what they all do right? They have a strong culture. Hey, when you have this strong culture, this is what separates great companies from good companies. Okay, that's it. That's our ground rules. Okay, so I have a question that you might be thinking of. Okay, well, why is there a person doing yoga with a dog sitting up looking all cute, and why is there a desk of Amazon? See, the question that I have when you're looking at this, when you think to yourself, what is culture? Hey, do you think that it is the lady on the left doing the yoga pose with the dog and having yoga and dogs in your office and creating those fun things? Or do you think it's the one on the right, the Amazon desk? By the way, that is a Home Depot door with L brackets and a 4x4 holding that up. That's how they started. They needed desks and they didn't have money to be able to build desks. So Amazon went out and they created those right over there. So answer that question to yourself. Do you think it's the lady or do you think it's doing Amazon with the doors? I will come back to that at the end. Okay. But first off, I want to introduce myself for those who don't quite know who I am in terms of who is Thaddeus. So I am Built on Purpose Media, specifically for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical contractors. We deal with other home services, a couple roofers, a couple flooring companies in there as well, primarily HVAC, plumbing, and electrical contractors. And one of the biggest gaps that we found was contractors hated their marketing agencies because they didn't understand the business. If you're dealing with a generalist agency, you're going to have to explain different things. What's an average service ticket? What's an average install ticket? What's your turnover process? What's a turnover tech turnover? Do you use selling techs? Or do you push that over to a comfort advisor? And then what's a comfort advisor's closing rate? Just a couple examples, right? Understanding the language of the business is key to having marketing company understand the success. Okay. And then I also run a $1 million business using proven strategies to actually generate phone calls, not just website visits. And I also believe in transparency. Hey, when we mess up, we're going to own it and we're going to fix it. Hey, to err is human, to forgive is divine, right? All humans make mistakes. It's a matter of are you transparent enough in those mistakes that you do? And the last part is I'm a steward for a great culture. Sorry, that wasn't the last part. I have over a decade of marketing experience, over 20 years working inside businesses. I've worked for great company cultures and really bad company cultures and anywhere in between. And so I know what it takes to really build a very successful organizational culture. But you're probably wondering, why am I still a digital marketing guy talking to you about culture if you're in the home services? Well, guess what? I asked my team why they love OPM. Here's the response. Here's some of their responses. I love the trust that management has given me and the whole team. Everyone at OPM is supportive and helping me achieve my goals, both personal and professional, because it encourages you to have a balance between work and life outside of it. I love OPM because it's a company that truly cares. OPM truly takes care of their staff well-being first, so we can better help out our clients and team. It's hard to create a culture in a virtual world, but I would argue that we have one of the best cultures I've seen. Going to work is fun. And we're all 100% remote too, by the way. The core values have taught me the importance of self-accountability in all areas of my life. And the company's well-structured approach not only focuses on client growth, but also prioritizes personal development, creating a space where everyone thrives together. And it's hard to create a culture in a virtual world, but I would argue that we have one of the best cultures I've seen. Going to work is fun. I think that's actually a repeat. So I love OPM because working here has made me a better person in my professional life, personal growth in my family life, which has truly been a humbling experience. I like this one. I love OPM because it helped me become the man I always dreamed of being. That's not mine, by the way. It does relate to me though, but that's powerful. When I read that, when I first asked the team members this, that stopped me in my tracks. Holy cow. What I do, what the culture we've created, the business matters more than just myself. Whew, that hit hard. That hit hard. Okay. But it also relates to something that I have as the three P's. Technically there's like four, but we'll dive into that. So the first P is people. The second P is product. And the third P is price. I've worked in an organization that had this backwards. They cared about price first, product second, people third. I will absolutely never forget this conversation. I went in with an idea. I was in the passenger elevator industry, and I always have to say passenger elevator industry. I live in the prairies, and we have grain elevators. So if I say elevator, look, grain elevators. Like, no, passenger elevators. Okay? So the price part, I remember going in with an idea when somebody dropped their keys down the elevator shaft, because you know what happens? It sucks. They had to pay a couple $100s to get those keys out. Most of the technicians, by the way, just did it for free. They're like, well, I haven't done my maintenance yet. Sure, I'll go and I'll do my maintenance today. I'll get the keys out and not charge, which was good because the technicians understood it. And so I went in with an idea to the district manager. I said, hey, boss, I won't name his name. What if we, instead of charging somebody to get their keys out of the elevator shaft, what if we donated money to a charity under our name, the elevator company name, and now we can actually have created a little bit of goodwill within the community because, oh, they dropped it. Oh, cool. Well, we're just going to help them out versus trying to charge them money. His words right back to me were, Thad, what do you think the shareholders will think about that? I'm like, well, I think it's great because we're doing goodwill. He's like, no. They're going to care about the bottom line, and that's going to hurt the bottom line. That's a silly idea. And that was it. That was the end of the conversation. I was like, okay. Like we're only talking a couple $1,000s a month here for a company that does $50 million per year in the area. Okay. So if you flip this now, if you care and you cared about the price and the bottom line, first and foremost. That translated backwards because they didn't care about the people that were in the office. One of the reasons I left the industry. In fact, I loved the industry, loved everything about it. Probably still would have been in it if they cared about the people better. That being said, people is number one. Your people are number one, not the customer, your people. Your customers are like a 1B on this, by the way, because you can't have your product without your people. If you care about your people, you take good care of them, they then are bought into your product. The product that most home service companies deal with, heating and cooling, it's an air conditioner, it's a furnace, it's an electrical panel, it's a hot water tank. There's nothing crazy about the product. I'm sorry to say it. I mean, you cool homes, you heat homes, you heat water, turn the lights on. Not a lot to go involved in the product. So how do you get people bought in and crazy about a product? Well, you treat them right. They're going to care about the product. Here's what happens when you treat your people right and they care about the product or your brand or your business because you treat them right. You can now charge a higher price. Now it's not always about the price, it's about the people. Okay. Some people have heard the saying from Peter Drucker, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And it's true. You can have the world's best strategy, but if your people aren't bought into it, they don't care. Right? But if you have a great culture and you release this amazing strategy, that's where it matters. Okay. So at its core, what is culture? Well, good culture is cult-like. Okay. And it's also provocative. And I got a third one here, but I'm going to go back to this picture here for a second. Think about, and I asked the question earlier, do you think it's the yoga lady on the left, or do you think it's the Amazon desk on the right? Okay. And say it out loud. Go ahead. It's okay. It's okay. Nobody's going to hear you. Okay, maybe the people in your office might hear you, but that's okay. You think it's lady on the left, or think it's the Amazon desks on the right? It's actually the Amazon desks on the right. See, they built this identity around these desks. And I've heard that they still use these desks today, that they still build some of these desks today. Not all of them, I'm sure, but a lot of them. Because you think about this cultural identity that Amazon has created, it's being able to give things to their consumers for the lowest amount possible. Amazon still does that. How can we save our consumers money? See, when you save them money, they're going to come back and they're going to shop more. That's what culture is all about. The other part is that the key concept is that making it fun, making it a fun place to go. You can have this cult-like culture, provocative. You can have the best things that are on a desk when they come in. You could put protein powder. You can put snacks. You can have free vending machine. You can have barbecue cookouts. But if it ain't fun, and I know ain't is an word, but I wanted to say it anyways. If it ain't fun, they're not going to enjoy going to work there. You got to make it fun. Okay. You got to have fun with it. All right. So how do you build this culture? What do you do? What goes involved in this? Okay. Well, first off is get your workbook. You can get it at onpurposemedia.ca/culture, or you can text the word culture if you're on your phone, 719-824-1377. So again, onpurposemedia.ca/culture, or text the word culture. Has to be exact spelling, by the way, just that word culture, 719-824-1377. You're going to get a copy of this workbook. Of course, I'm down further. So build a company culture that attracts and grows top talent. Okay. We're going to go through the objective of it is building a culture that lowers turnover, raises accountability, and creates brand ambassadors. This workshop will focus on practical, actionable steps to ensure to shape culture in your business. So let's jump back. I'm going to jump back and forth between the two because I want to make sure that we do everything that we need to do. So core values, what are they? Well, they're ethics and principles that guide your decisions and actions inside your business. Ethics and principles. Hey, ethics, no, we're not talking morals. I mean, although ethics and morals, we could have that debate anyway. It's not the point of the conversation. Ethics and principles that guide your decisions and actions inside your business. Do you have these clearly defined? Okay. So your core values, right? Do you have them? And by the way, you can go through this on the workbook, right? Checklist. Our culture is clearly defined. We make it fun and on purpose. Leaders set the tone consistently, right? Do you have them? And then the reality check, right? So the other part down here, right? Go through this with me, guys. Check this off. Okay? Print this out. Revisit this replay where you can go through and you can have these checked off. Okay. Do you have them? Do you know them? Okay. Does everyone know them? That's a key one. Does everybody in your team know your core values? And do you repeat them often? Do you hire against them? Do you fire against them? And do you actually live them? So you look on this, right? A couple other extra bonus points of leaders communicate the core values in random conversations, one-on-ones, etc. So total up. Go ahead. Total up. How many did you check off? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Write that number down. Could have been 3. That's okay. Whatever number is. Could be 0. It could be 1. Could be all 10. Write it down. Go ahead. Do it. I'll give you a second. Next, let's have some introspective reflection on this, right? What are your top 3 areas for improvement? Look against these and say, okay, well, if you checked off none, well, first off, go in order, written down, visible, everyone on the team knows them. Start there. Okay, 1, 2, 3. If you've got a couple of them down, it's almost like going reverse order here, right? Or an area where you think you might have all of those, but you don't think that everybody on the team knows them. Okay, write those down in order of importance for you. Okay. Next up, the action plan. What will you do today to improve these? Okay, I'll give you a second. Think about that. What are you going to do today to improve your core values? Go ahead, write that down. Pause the video if you need to. If you take more time, if you're watching on team replay, this is live right now. But if you're watching this on the replay, pause the video. Okay, don't go down to the next part yet. Okay, I'm gonna ask honesty on this one, right? Again, writing this down. What are you going to do today to improve those? All right, I'm going to show you a couple of I'll show you all of our core values. So you get an idea of what core values are. By the way, honesty, transparency, integrity, those are shitty core values. Do not put those on there. Those suck. Straight up, they suck. Okay? Fun fact, we used to have honesty and transparency as 2 separate core values. But guess what? Do what's right now, what's easy is honesty and transparency. Said differently. Okay. You can read this underneath here. I'm not going to go through it, but we have do what's right now, what's easy, committed to excellence, being resourceful, purpose driven, and fail forward. Right? Do what's right now, what's easy, it's easy, right? Like at the end of the day, all you have is your last name and your reputation. You be able to protect both, right? A good old mentor told me that. Just taking it to heart. Okay. Committed to excellence, right? We don't want to be just okay. We want to be legendary, right? Are you committed to being the best version of yourself and doing the best that you can in your job? Being resourceful. Do you find answers? Okay. Do you go about and look through the day to be able to find the solutions that you need, rolling up your sleeves, getting hands dirty, and just getting after it, finding it? Okay. Purpose driven is big picture, right? Being off self and on purpose, being part of something that is bigger than yourself. And fail forward, we actually just changed this core value halfway through 2025. We used to have unconventional thinking, and we realized that not every person is built for unconventional thinking, but every person can be built to fail forward and learn from their mistakes. Okay, so we've created and added this in, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We get that, right? As long as we're failing forward and we're learning. See, now you can understand and see a little bit better of core values. Okay. Here's the other part. How often do you repeat them? Okay, weekly kickoff meetings, if you've got safety meetings, if you've got culture highlights that you're talking about throughout the day. I get it. Some people are out and about. Maybe use this as a Slack message to be able to put it out there so all your techs that aren't in the office all day long understand this, because they're kind of in a remote virtual world when you think about it, because they're gone all day, right? Random conversations that you have with people. The average person, by the way, needs to hear something 7 times before it registers on average. I would probably say that's even more in today's day and age, because we're inundated with so much information. So much information that you'll probably hear a little bit more. Okay. So keep that in mind. Okay. All right. So how do you hire against your core values? Well, first you have to define your core values. And if you need help with that, maybe we can have a conversation later on about helping you create and define your core values. There's ways to be able to do that inside your organization, and it involves a couple hours worth of work. Okay. How to hire against them. First off, it starts in the recruiting process. Let me paint a picture for us and how we do our recruiting, so you can understand where we're after here. So all of our applications have to watch it's like a 2.5-minute video, me talking roughly about our core values and kind of what we're looking for inside the individual. And at the end, we say, hey, here's a secret question, or the answer to the secret passphrase that you need to know. And they have to write that down. Okay? And from there, we go through an application process. They have to submit a 1-minute video of themselves. I don't really care what they look like, but it's just this extra step. Most people gloss over that, right? And then they get redirected to a questionnaire after where we ask some skill testing questions. And at the very end, it's, hey, what was the secret passphrase from that first video? So now we're putting this paying attention part inside of it. Okay. We're building that all throughout our process. Okay. Also in the interview, okay, that's when it goes into this, and we ask core value-based questions. So we have a first interview, and then we send most of our people through a Colby A assessment and an Enneagram assessment, and then they have a second interview with us if they get to that stage. But in the first one, we're generally assessing cultural fit to make sure that they know our culture, because we want to protect our culture at all possible costs, right? So we ask these core value-based questions. So for example, what was the last problem you solved via YouTube? One of the questions that we ask, because I want to find out if they're being resourceful with themselves. In fact, I had an interview today. Hey, what was the last time you solved a problem via YouTube? Right away, gave an answer. Some people are like, I don't use YouTube. I don't really solve problems. Or they might use another thing. Hey, I went to Reddit or went on this and did this or whatever, and this is the problem that I solved. Because we want to make sure that they're resourceful to be able to find solutions to the problems that they're facing. Another one is, if money were unlimited, what would you do? This, by the way, is a dovetail off of a question that I have at the very beginning. And so you think about this culture blueprint where we have this, it's actually twofold. Okay. I ask them at the very beginning of their interview, what motivates you? Oftentimes when they ask what motivates you, and then I ask, if money were unlimited, what would you do? I want to see if there's synergies there. Right? I want to see if there's connection to their motivation of what they think I want them to hear versus the money's unlimited question, and tying that in together. Okay. Because now I can see, are they purpose driven? Okay. So I can see if they're purpose driven. But that undertones of do what's right now, it's easy, because I want to see connection between that. Some people, they don't match those two things. Okay, well, there must be a misalignment of purpose, or they are aligned. I had an interview last week, and I was like, I think I already know the answer to the question, but I asked it anyways, and guess what? The answer was truthful, because it was spread throughout all of her resume and her answers, right? So again, is there alignment in those things? Okay, so now you don't have to do the whole hiring process like what we have, okay? But create 2 to 3 questions you can use in an interview that align with your core values. Feel free to take mine if you like, if those are some of your core values, right? But now you can think through this and say, okay, well, do my core values, do I ask questions that are related to culture? Oftentimes, I find that in the recruiting process, and I've worked in recruiting in and out for 20 years. In the recruiting process, we fail to ask culture-based questions. And then when somebody comes into the team, you're like, well, why don't they fit my culture? It's because you didn't vet them against your culture to begin with. When you vet them against your culture with specific questions thrown in there, now they're going to be part of that. The other thing too is, when you have your great people inside your culture, they're going to naturally self-select out. One bad apple spoils the whole tree, right? That could happen. Or the whole tree is just so strong, they're going to push that other person out because they're not a cultural fit. Or sometimes they want so hard to be part of the culture and they just can't get it. That's part of it. And you know what? We don't always get it right. Great companies get it right 70% of the time. But I love 100% of the time? Absolutely, because it costs a lot to hire a person and train them inside of an organization. Okay? Thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands in some cases. So don't beat yourself up if you don't get it right. Okay. But now that you've had them in the organization, how do you fire against core values? Now, there's performance things, performance improvement plans, et cetera. I'm not talking about those. There's some people that just won't ever understand where you're at, but you need to ask those things. How do you fire against people? And that's the GWC Analyzer. So, and you want to hire slow, fire fast. So this is the GWC Analyzer. In fact, you can actually pull it up. I've given you a free template here to be able to grab and go over it. Um, it allows you to be able to rank it, right? And by the way, there's more than just you. So this is just an example of from before, when the team ranked me. I've redacted their names and just called them person 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was obviously no person 3 at the moment in time. You'll see that in the template. Depending on the size of your organization, there's like an owner, operations, team lead, et cetera. Team lead, leadership, et cetera, in terms of the template. But when you think about this guy here, we actually rank it against these core values. See, the plus is most of the time. The plus minus is some of the time. And the minus is rarely. So you can actually see my results on this particular slide, right? Do what's do what's right, not what's easy. So I self reflect on myself. We ask all of our team members to self-reflect. The other thing is you can write down the rationale and the reasons on here as like a tab. And like I thought about putting the template in. It was just crazy and chaotic. We've actually moved into more of a Google Forms for this than this particular template, but this is a good baseline for you to at least start working on these and having a self-reflection. So you can see do what's right now, it's easy, always a plus, right? Committed to excellence, plus minus, be resourceful, plus, purpose-driven, plus, fail forward, plus minus, hungry, hustle, and then my humble was a plus minus. So those are my rankings, right? Another team member wrote it plus, 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 minus, plus, plus, plus. This person did all pluses for me. This person did all pluses, pluses, plus, minus, plus, 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 minus, plus, plus, minus, plus, 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 minus. This average is just for me to be able to see. You can honestly change this to 1, 2, or 3. So 3 is most of the time. 2 is some of the time. 1 is rarely, right? You could do that, right? Instead of the plus, plus, minus, or minus. It makes it a little bit easier to be able to, if you wanted to formula this itself. And so now you can see where I ranked. Okay? This was one that we did, I believe, in the month of April. Okay. And then I did it again in June. Okay. So we do it, as you can see in this instructions over here, we do it quarterly. April, July, October, January. So sorry, my bad. July, not June. And then we do it and we sit down, we have a conversation with it. Okay. But you can see the change, right? So I've went up. These stayed the same because everybody ranked it. See, and this gives you an idea to say, okay, well, where am I? And obviously you want to do this with your team members, the team members that you have conversations with. If you're an owner and you're removed from a person, you don't really have conversations with them that much. That's fine, by the way. That happens in an organization. Okay. It's okay. Have your team leads do it. Okay. Not you. But I was like having people do it for me too, against me, because I want to see where I rank in my core values. Because if you notice from before, you have to live your core values. When you live your core values, it becomes a lot easier for your team to rank you on them. Okay. So making sure that you do it that way, because those core values are an important piece of what it is that you do. Okay. So go back, make sure you do this for yourselves. Okay. The other part too, the little homework part, is create the standards on what you're willing to tolerate. How many minuses will you allow? How many plus minuses will you allow? This should have an apostrophe S. Will you allow? Okay. How many minuses will you allow? How many plus minuses will you allow? Okay. And have that. You could have a 0 tolerance for minuses. You could put 0 down there. You could also put how many, depending on your core values, you have 5 core values. I would probably put a 0 for minuses myself. I don't want people who don't fit in the mold, right? That's also one of the reasons, by the way, where we changed our core values, because we were finding a lot of people were negatives on unconventional thinking. And we're like, well, they're actually pluses on everything else, but they had 1 minus, even though our tolerance level is no minuses. Wait, what? And so we looked at, okay, what makes the most sense for our core values? And that's why we changed that. Don't be scared to change your core values either. Review them quarterly. But again, how many will you allow? Maybe you'll allow 1. Maybe you'll allow 1 within the first 90 days or 6 months. Okay. There can be cascades to this. How many plus minuses will you allow? By the way, I would say with the higher up in the organization you go, if you have managers, team leaders, C-suite, this plus minus tolerance gets lower. Gets lower. Okay. So assess that for yourself. What are you willing to do? And what are you willing to be able to tolerate with inside of your organization as it relates to your culture? And if somebody is not fitting your culture, okay, you need to remove that person from your organization. It sucks when you have to fire people. Probably the worst part of my job is when we have to remove somebody from our organization because they're no longer fitting our culture. But you need to protect that. You need to absolutely protect your culture. You cannot let it erode because of one person. In fact, there's many stories out there of somebody that was top performer, top producer in an organization, but they were a bad member of the culture, and the company decided to, you know what, keep them around because they were a top producer. That person can never be replaced. Well, what happens to the rest of the team? They just leave. Okay? But if you actually take the bull by the horns and you remove that person from your organization, I have had it happen internally in my own business, and I've heard the stories from others. They're always worried about removing one person. When that person gets removed, you know what the rest of the team does? Thank you. thank you. They actually say, thank you for getting rid of that person. We did not like working with them. Well, they raise up. They fill that gap. Don't be scared. Somebody's bad to your culture, protect that culture at all costs. Okay. Vivid vision, we're going to talk about that in a second. All right. Do you actually live your core values? Okay. Do you take them home with you? Okay. Have your team rate you? Okay. That's the big part. Okay? Those two things. Vivid vision. All right. Let's dive into this. Have you defined where you're going as a business? Have you created a vision for the future? Not just next year, but 5 years out, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year picture. Have you created that? Okay. Is your purpose mapped out? Here's the thing. I'm going to show you a number later. I know that it directly and indirectly impacts 4,000 mouths that we can directly and indirectly impact and feed as a result of our overarching purpose and mission. I've had team members quote me that. Like, I love that you guys are on a mission to help feed indirectly 4,000 mouths because of the work that we do. Because when marketing is great, the organization that we're serving and helping grow the marketing is great. They can hire more people. We can hire more people. We can impact more lives. It's a pretty big purpose. Have you shared these with your team? Have you mapped this out and have you shared it? Okay. Is your vision repeated often? Okay. This is our vivid vision, by the way. December 31st, 2029, we're ending the best year in our company's history. We're riding a major high. We have 170 active clients, 37 virtual team members, and 95% employee retention rate and 98% client satisfaction. That is our vivid vision in mapping that out. By the way, the number that I care about the most on this slide, 95% employee retention rate. That's the one that I care about the most. Okay. These are things that matter to us, right? Your vivid vision can be mattering to you in terms of where you're at. Obviously, it's going to look a little bit different because your industry is a little bit different, right? I'm sharing you mine from my experience. You can take that and relate that to yours. Okay. 95% employee retention rate. Why do I care about the most? Well, it goes back to those 3 Ps. If I care about my people, they're going to then take care of my clients, which then we're having a better product, which allows me to charge more, which allows me to be able to pay my team more, which then relates to them being satisfied at the office. Full circle. Okay, full circle. So coming over to this vivid vision, right? You've already seen this, right? We have a purpose and cause written out. Our vivid vision is visible all to see. Our purpose and cause is visible for all to see. Leaders share the vivid vision consistently. Vivid vision is tied to I lost my spot. Vivid vision is tied to metrics and milestones. Leaders communicate the vivid vision in random conversation, one-on-ones, weekly team meetings, quarterly state of the company. Check those off, right? Total those up. Do you have those things? Okay, in case anybody's coming in halfway through on the live, you can get this at onpurposemedia.ca/culture to be able to pick that up. Okay, pick a copy of this and what we're going through. onpurposemedia.ca/culture. Okay, total those up. Next. What are your 3 areas for improvement? Again, kind of similar to what it was before. You know, you might have a couple of these on there, or you might have none of them. Well, if you have none of them, start at the top. Those are your 3 areas, right? If you've got a couple, then really think introspectively on which ones are going to be the most applicable for your business. Okay, write those down. I'll give you a second to kind of go through that. I'll also give you a second to write down what will you improve today. Okay? What are you going to do today to improve these? Write that down. Go ahead. I'll give you a second. If you're watching on replay, hit pause, go through this. All right. Our passion cause, by the way, forgot to talk about this before we went on to the next slide. We focus on people first, and we focus on people first. Our niche is home service marketing and consulting. Okay. Because we do websites, SEO, Google Ads, and fractional chief marketing officer work. Okay. Hey, have you shared that? I've shared this with our team. In fact, I do it on our interviews. Okay. Have you shared those things? I mean, how often do you repeat it? Right? Do you do it in random conversations? Right? One-on-ones? Weekly team meetings? Quarterly state of the company? Do you even do a quarterly state of the company? We do. We run on EOS, Entrepreneur's Operating System. We break our life down into our business life into 90-day cycles. And after every 90-day cycle, when we have our quarterly planning session, we do a quarterly state of the company where we talk about the future and the vision, where we're going. Okay. So office perks. This is another one. So the what do you offer? Right. Unlimited. These are just some of the things, right? You don't have to do this. Unlimited pay time off. That might be a little bit tricky in some areas. Although we offer unlimited pay time off. And guess what I found? People don't really abuse it because there's a checks and balance. There's a caveat is that because you're gone, the work just doesn't stop. So you need to make sure there's a plan in place while you're away for the work to be done. And we also have to have pre-approval anyways. And so you get to like have 2, 3 weeks in advance. So you're not just people like, wow, I'm going away tomorrow for 2 weeks. Well, hell you are. We didn't have a plan in place, right? So there's caveats in and around that. Flexible schedule. I know for us, this is huge. We employ adults and we want to treat them like adults. So we have a set amount of hours that our team needs to work in a day. And if they want to break it up, we've got some team members that work a couple hours, they take 2, 3 hours off, and then they come back and finish their day. We got someone who don't like that, just like to smash through it. We have some people that move their schedule earlier on Friday so they can be done early. Well, I don't care. Have the flexibility. You want to go for lunch in the middle of the day with your friends or your spouse? Go for it. You need to come in late one morning because you went out to a play or a movie with your significant other the night before and you want to sleep in? Go for it. Like there's no set schedule for us. And again, some organizations can't do this, so keep this in mind. Okay. We have a fun environment, right? Do you have a fun environment? Okay. And obviously there's physical office, is a pretty big perk. So jump the gun on this, but you can see some of these things. Limited paid time off. Do you offer that? Flexible schedule. Again, caveat on this. Some organizations can, some organizations can't. Fun environment, physical office perks, team building activities, recognition programs. By the way, physical office perks. I love this. One of our clients, this is actually the same conversation that we were having the other week at Pantheon 2 weeks ago. And they were talking about what they have in their break room and their conference room. They come in and their team they have I think like 3 or 4 different types of protein powders. So for those that want to have protein powder, they've got snacks, they've got vending machines, they've got food, they've got pop, they've got all these things that are just extra office perks. It doesn't cost them very much. They've got healthy breakfast options. So if the team doesn't eat breakfast on their way in, they can come in and they can grab breakfast. They've got coffee, they've got an espresso machine. I toured one office that had popcorn maker. They had a popcorn maker. They can make popcorn, right? They had all these extra office things that go involved in this. That's small things that go a long way. Some people think that that is the only thing that defines culture is making sure that my team has food. No, no, that's only one part of it. Okay. If you feel that you have all those things, but you're still having a retention issue, guess what? Your core values and your vivid vision suck. They're not bought into a bigger overarching purpose and mission. Straight up. Okay. Looking at these, I mean, you can think of a few other perks. I've just listed off a few, right? I know some organizations, depending on the vehicle that you have and in that, they can take their vehicle home with them versus parking it at the shop, right? They don't need to have a vehicle. They can drive it to and from home. Again, there's storage, break-in, whatever, right? Like I'm just giving you a spitballing an idea and you know your area better than I know your area. If you think, hey, I don't really want to deal with that, then great. But if you do, well, heck, there's a billboard parked in your employees' driveways. Food for thought. Food for thought. Okay. Writing some down. How many of those did you have? Total them up. Okay. The other part, I'll give you a moment. What are your top 3 areas for improvement? I'll pause for a second so you can write those down. Write those down. Your top 3 areas for improvement when it comes to office perks. Okay, the last part, what are you going to do today to improve these? Do not skip over these action items, guys, these action plans. Do not skip over it. What are you going to do today to improve these? Write these down. This is a workshop for you to be able to build this to where you can have a better culture. And what are you going to do today to improve these? Of course, we're live, so I want to be respectful of your time. You can always come back and rewatch this, but if those are on team replay, just hit the pause button, okay? Come back to it. All right, last. Gonna repeat, 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 repeat. And then when you think you've repeated enough, repeat some more. People think that because they've written down their core values once and put them on a wall, that people understand them. Nope. Sorry. Because you think that you've done the vivid vision once a quarter, that people are going to remember them. Nope. Sorry. Yeah, they might see them on the walls in one ear out the other. Right? How often do you repeat that? Okay. That's a key thing. Okay. So again, repeat all of these things ad nauseum. So the last part, ask your team to send you why they love working here. This could make or break your day, depending on your organization and your culture. But ask them. Send them a message privately. Hey, why do you love working here? Let me know. I mean, you could also do is like, are there some things that you don't like about working here? But I like the why you love working here because you can lean into your strength that way. Okay. Ask your team that. That's probably one of the biggest takeaways, biggest action item that I think you could potentially do is ask your team why they love working here. Okay. Why they love working here. That's the action plan. Okay. All right, notes and takeaways. Of course, we want to make sure that you fill this out too. What was the biggest aha moment from today? What is your first action step for tomorrow, and how you'll hold yourself accountable? I'll give you a little bit of time to be able to write those down. Your biggest aha moment from today. Go ahead, write that down. Next, what is your first action step that you're going to take tomorrow or today, depending on what time it is? I mean, it's 1:40 here my time, so you can easily 1:41 to be exact. All right, cool. Um, I would still have time to impact this. If you're Eastern 3:40, yeah, maybe not. Maybe you do, depending on your hours that you work. Okay, what are you going to do? What's your first action step? Last part is how are you going to hold yourself accountable? By the way, if you wanted to text those to me, 719-824-1377, I can help you hold it accountable. 719-824-1377. That does go to me. Okay. Your culture's set. Okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and connect. Thaddeus at onpurposemedia.ca. Onpurposemedia.ca is the website. Facebook.com/Thaddeus.Tondu. Of course, I also dropped that phone number 719-824-1377 as well. So that is essentially the culture blueprint. But if you're thinking, okay, well, what's in it for my end? Well, I don't have anything to sell you on culture. Okay. But I do marketing, right? We do websites, we do SEO, we do PPC. Okay. We get it right. And I feel it's only fair that I share briefly a little bit about what it is that we do because I just gave you guys 42 minutes worth of my time to give you some value around culture. Okay. So what do we do here at On Purpose Me to get it right? We're different because we are home service specialists, right? Particular HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, right? We'll do other home services, right? But we understand the language. Okay. We have an AI first approach, by the way. We've been testing AI for months, if not years, right? And bake it into our website builds. And we want to make sure there's buzzwords around AI, AEO, GEO, AI, SEO, and ABCDEFG. Well, SEO is SEO. Large language models, guess what? They got to get the information from somewhere. They get it from Google and Bing. So if you can show up in Google and Bing, show up in LLMs, there's no secret sauce to that. Okay. We have transparent results. You own your accounts. You see real ROI data. We actually show you your return on ad spend and revenue attribution based off of source, which is cool. Phone focused. We optimize for calls that convert, not just clicks. Right? And of course, we have a proven process. Our systematic approach delivers consistent results. Bottom line, we speak your language, understand your business, and how to build a website that converts, okay? And get SEO that matters. So you can fast track your digital marketing success. You get with On Purpose Media, full website built from top to bottom. You're going to get a complete AI SEO audit and strategy. I know that I just said those things don't matter, AI SEO. Well, it's just SEO, and we make sure that we're showing up in the AI because we're going to rank for SEO, okay? GBP optimization for maximum visibility. We are going to content restructuring for AI platforms. See, this is the thing is that content restructuring to be able to make sure that you're showing up in Google because Google changes their algorithm. And that's the point of that. Okay. The ongoing monitoring and on optimization of your accounts, monthly ROI reporting you can actually understand. And that's it, right? The difference is professional implementation versus trial and error learning, right? We know what we're doing. And we also have a really good team that's bought into our culture that is behind your business doing the work. Okay. So if you want to go ahead, book your strategy call, your website audit call. We'll audit your current website and your AI and SEO visibility. We'll show you exactly where you're losing customers. We'll create a custom action plan specifically for you. No pressure, no pitch, just honest insights. Go ahead and head on over to onpurposemedia.ca/book. If you want me to review your core values, you can do the same thing here, right? Let's chat, right? This is the second opinion, by the way, on this. So onpurposemedia.ca/second. That's if you want me to review your core values, your vivid vision, and your blueprint here. I will be happy to do that. There is no strings. There is no dollar fee attached to that. Hit me up on purposemedia.ca/second. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. And I can't wait to help you build a culture in your business that is worthwhile for your people. That is the biggest thing that drives me, is making sure that your people are taken care of. Until next time.
you like what you heard today, you can hit us up and get a marketing analysis done on your business to know if you're on pace or if you're off pace. Head on to the link that's on your screen, onpurposemedia.ca/marketing-analysis. Book a time with us, and we'll go over and give you all of the details. No obligations, by the way, on whether your marketing is on point or whether it's not. Of course, we also want to see you on our socials. We got our Facebook, we got our Instagram, we got our Threads, we got our TikTok. Give us a follow.